Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Travel plans for hundreds of passengers have been thrown out the window as heavy fog cut off Launceston Airport for a second day. 9 flights have been cancelled since yesterday afternoon, while others have been significantly delayed.
You can barely see the end of the runway, let alone the plane which tried to land. Many aircraft followed a similar pattern. Pilots who did touch down needed extreme precision. Those in the terminal played jet roulette, hovering over the flight tracker, only to see almost all aircraft turned away.
They were all watching that and just waiting to see what happens.
Problems began yesterday when an extensive band of fog covered northern Tasmania. The Weather Bureau says a sprinkling of rain this morning, combined with the clear skies and light winds, was the perfect recipe for today's total whiteout.
Supposed to go to Brisbane last night, cancelled, and supposed to go to Brisbane again today via Sydney.
We'll just sit tight and wait.
Even the airport's boss was diverted to Hobart and took our call as he boarded a bus bound for Launceston.
We are at the will of the weather, and the airlines clearly will only operate when conditions are safe to do so.
Travellers are urged to go to the airport's website for the latest flight information or to contact their airline direct for any urgent inquiries. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Public sector unions remain at odds tonight, set to take different paths forward as a year-long battle with the state government for better pay continues. Despite a small step ahead yesterday for nurses, there's still a long way to go before the dispute finally reaches an end.
As nurses celebrate a temporary ceasefire in their campaign for better wages, other public sectors are yet to reach a deal. The peak union refusing a short-term offer from the government, advocating for a more substantial agreement.
We did poll them. Only 15% of them were in support of that offer. They felt that they've worked long and hard to get increases that keep up with the cost of living, and they want to keep pushing for that.
Yesterday, the nursing union announced it would accept the 2.1% deal, including back pay. The health union still making up its mind.
We'll resolve that hopefully over the next 24 hours. And hopefully we'll end up in the Commission with a joint position with the ANMF.
We all want our hard-working public servants to have a fair and reasonable pay rise that has to be affordable as well when it comes to the importance of maintaining our service delivery.
But as negotiations continue, questions remain over $450 million of cuts coming to the public sector over the next 4 years.
It's impossible for the government's own workforce to negotiate with the government through their union representatives around pay and conditions when they don't even know which parts of the public service will be cut.
The government now wants the battle resolved by an independent umpire. The next step forward coming on Wednesday, with unions due to report back on a proposed terms of reference. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
Ballot papers are beginning to flow in as part of an unusual vote of the people over changes to building height limits. It's a decision that could impact councils right across the state as many tackle unprecedented population, student and tourism demands.
This is the letter thousands of Hobart residents received last month, asked to vote on whether the council should support maximum height limits for new areas across the city. Ballot papers already rolling in.
With a week to go, we have just under 29%, which is a bit over 10,000 electors. So that's a really good, strong start.
Time ticking to gauge people's opinions on just how tall our buildings should be.
An elector poll is not binding on council, but it gives them a strong understanding of the feeling within the community.
The concept dividing passionate voters, some against taller buildings.
When you put a high-rise in amongst what is a fairly large number of heritage low buildings, it overshadows them, it creates wind tunnels and it just destroys them.
While others say it's necessary.
It's about density, so increasing the density within the city so that we don't have urban sprawl. The other reason that we need height is for economic viability.
It's an issue Launceston and other councils are also grappling with as populations increase outside the capital.
We can see that coming through our student population, but also tourism, leading to people wanting to stay. So there will be a need for housing supply, there will be a need for all sorts of accommodation, and we need to be proactive in that space.
All will be revealed after voting closes on Monday. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
Today was Scott Morrison's first trip to the state since winning the election in May. The Prime Minister taking a tour around community facilities in the northern electorates, which returned him to power.
Returning to the state's north just for the day, Bass, the Prime Minister's first port of call, with Scott Morrison greeting local staff and clients, a part of the National Disability Insurance Scheme.
Look at all them!
Hosting a roundtable discussion to gather feedback and possible suggestions for the system's future.
Oh, that's why we came down here, to listen to what the problem was and then get about fixing it.
The Prime Minister's next stop, a tour of the neighbourhood house in Ravenswood, without missing a knitting lesson from a local.
There we go. Not bad. A little loose. You're going to have to tidy that up for me, I think.
And then heading northwest to the electorate of Braddon.
He sees us as the turnaround part of the state. He sees us as moving forward, as small business continues to drive forward. He's pleased with it, he's on it, he loves it, and he's back again. So great to see the PM back today.
Mr Morrison taking a sneak peek inside the Psychology Cafe in Latrobe, providing treatment for children and teenagers, with the state's new mental health minister welcoming the support for all vulnerable Tasmanians.
The Prime Minister spoke of the importance of mental health awareness, reducing the stigma, and the importance also of both individuals and collectively working on our mental health and physical health as well.
The work, the compassion that goes on here is incredible, second to none, and I'm very pleased that the Prime Minister and the Minister got to see it firsthand.
The Prime Minister declined a formal media conference. Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanians with a chocolate obsession can rejoice as preparations get underway for the 16th annual celebration of the favourite treat. Around 30 venues across Latrobe will showcase some sugary delights, with the Chocolate Winterfest bringing in thousands of visitors to town every year.
Also brings people together in the middle of winter. Families can come along with their children and just enjoy a day out in the middle of winter, so a great opportunity.
The enticing event will take place on August the 11th.
Former Melbourne star Colin Garland has launched a scathing attack on AFL Tasmania, accusing the state's governing body of ignoring grassroots footy. He says its obsession with the Devils under-18s and future VFL team is bad for the game when TSL clubs are struggling to remain competitive.
Colin Garland concedes he's been struggling mentally and physically since returning south, only managing a handful of games. And while most would be celebrating the D's first win of 2019, Garland sees it differently. He says the return of the Devils VFL team in 2021 is doomed while the grassroots continues to struggle. And he's blaming AFL Tasmania.
I don't know if it's a good thing for a 31-year-old like me, limping around with hamstring tendinitis, being able to kick 8 goals in the TSL. Does that mean we're going to have a strong VFL team? Have they been to junior games? Have they been to actually see the lack of numbers or the lack of resources for our 15s and 16 coaches?
AFL Tasmania CEO Trish Squires says she's tried contacting Garland today to discuss his concerns.
We can always do better. We can always do so much more in community footy, but at the moment we're doing a lot more than we've done for a number of years.
She says she's confident Tasmania will field a strong VFL side off the back of renewed grassroots investment, a strong TSL and luring ex-Tasmanians home.
Colin speaking out about how he feels about football in the state doesn't probably make it a marketable experience for people to come back, but right now what we're doing is trying to build to a VFL side, which I believe will strengthen our current TSL competition.
There are a lot of ex-Tasmanians playing over there, but you know, they're all in careers and stuff like that. Is that generation gone? The Devils under-18s have won 4 games out of 11. They'll probably have 2 drafted maximum.
And he says Tasmania's win in the under-25 representative game is no yardstick.
I mean, our state 25s played a team of people that aren't good enough to play VFL, and we won, but we didn't smash them. Do you want to see a VFL team getting smashed every week? Garland says he's unsure where or even if he'll play next year. Andrew McCarthy, 7 Tasmania News.
And the votes are in for the RACT Insurance Player of the Year in the TSL after round 14, with North Launceston's Josh Ponting getting the 3 votes in his side's easy win over Glenorchy at UTAS Stadium. Colin Garland received maximum points for his 8 goals in North Hobart's victory over Clarence, while Fletcher Seymour was the standout during Launceston's 43-point win over Kingborough at the Twin Ovals. And to the leaderboard, Brad Cox-Goodger continues to lead the way with 14 votes, 2 votes ahead of Fletcher Seymour and 3 votes clear of Lauderdale's Hayden Smith. Tasmanian cyclist Richie Port's hopes of securing a maiden Tour de France title have taken a hit after the team time trial in Belgium overnight. The Trek Segafredo rider now sits more than 1.5 minutes behind the leader as the peloton gears up for tonight's 215-kilometre third stage.
Stage 2 around the streets of Brussels, but Trek Segafredo were off the pace, completing the 27.6-kilometre course in just over 30 minutes, 1 minute and 18 seconds adrift of Team Jumbo-Visma. But perhaps most alarming for Port is the pace of Geraint Thomas's Team Ineos, who crossed the line in second. Trek were 18th out of 22 starters.
It's not really my thing, 58 kilograms, trying to hold the wheel of those bigger fellas. It's, look, I'm not going to throw the toys out of the cot just yet.
Port currently sits in 104th position in the general classification heading into stage 3. To triathlon, and Jake Birtwistle has claimed bronze in the mixed team relay at the ITU event in Hamburg. Birtwistle again displayed his signature power finish, overpowering Trans-Tasman rivals New Zealand on his way to the podium. Meanwhile, Cameron Worth has also tasted success in the Challenge Roth. Charging hard in the run leg, Worth also finished third after a late fade.
He has put himself in the hurt box. Look at him. He has given it absolutely everything he's got. That is super impressive from Cam Worth.
And in sailing, Wynyard's Chris Simons has had a successful run at the World Parasailing Championships in the Hansa 303 class. Despite strong results earlier in the event, the current Australian men's champion was unable to match his results from earlier in the tournament, but held on to claim silver. Andrew McCarthy, 7 Tasmania News.
Olympia remains in the hunt for the NPL title after a stunning come-from-behind win against Kingborough at Lightwood Park. Down 2-0 in the 88th minute, the Warriors slotted home 3 winners in 7 frantic minutes of football.
Once we got one, I think the boys kind of sensed that they were panicking a little bit, and it was just more of a belief that we've had that all season. I mean, we've scored a couple of late goals, especially the one against South, and I think that's kind of drove us on to believe that the game's not over until it's actually over.
Olympia's next match is against Glenorchy Knights on Friday.
Good evening. Friendly Beaches our top today with 16 after Lyawini had our low of -2, unless you count the -3 at Macquarie Island, which is actually part of Tasmania, even though it's 1,500 kilometres south of us. Back to the mainland, Hobart and Burnie 15 degrees, Launceston and Devonport 14 today. St Helens and King Island 15 degrees, Flinders Island, Smithton and Lowhead 14, Strawn 13, Ouse 10 and Lyawini a high of 7. A band of showery low-level clouds sat over the west today after the earlier cloud moved off the east of Tasmania. Didn't produce much this morning, just a few showers as it passed. Plenty of rain over the west later today. Mid to low-level cloud covers much of Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland. Some patchy low-level cloud over southwestern parts of WA and South Australia. A cold front approaches Tasmania with another developing behind it. Beyond the bite, the high moves slowly northeast over New South Wales and the Northern Territory. West and northwesterly winds 15 to 25 knots, reaching 30 knots over western and southern waters, swells at 2 metres. A strong wind warning is on from the top of Flinders Island down to St Helens Point, and also from Tasman Island to Stanley, a small craft wind alert for the southwest lakes. Hobart partly cloudy for Tuesday and 14 degrees, a shower or 2 for Adventure Bay, Bruny Island 13, 9 the top for Tarraleah with a few showers. Launceston and morning fog again, late shower, 14 the top, 14 also for Devonport, showers for Bridport and 13 degrees. Burnie a high of 13 with showers in the air, showers for Strawn on 13 as well and 14 for Marrawar, while for St Helens tomorrow mostly sunny and 15. Same for Swansea, 14 the top for Whitemark on Flinders Island, a few showers there. On Wednesday, showers over the north and west, increasing to rain during the afternoon and evening, a few showers for the rest of the state. On Thursday, showers again, mostly confined to the north, west and far south, with snow above 900 metres. Showers extending throughout on Friday, with snow lowering to 500 metres over the southwest. Partly cloudy weather over Perth and Melbourne tomorrow. Mostly sunny though for Adelaide, Sydney and Brisbane. A frosty and foggy start in Canberra. Little cloudy over Hobart, 11 degrees right now. Clear in Launceston for now, 9 degrees, and in Devonport it's currently 10 degrees. And of course, Joe, this time of year we do expect a bit of fog, particularly in the north of the state, but it's the last couple of days that have been quite severe. Hopefully with these cold fronts coming through and the winds picking up, it might blow the fog away for a little while. It did hamper a lot of activity over the weekend, those going away for school holidays, and even the chairman of the North Melbourne Football Club made it late to the ground at Blunston Arena for his match yesterday. Hopefully when we go on holidays though, it won't be foggy here or volcano-y in Bali.
Hopefully, Murph. Fingers crossed for you and Donna. That's all from the team for now. Have a lovely evening. We'll see you a little later with updates. Bye-bye.